All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I wanted to do this lesson. I was inspired by a recent event, that took place. A recent event that took place on, in the, I think this was in the Bronx or so, but you pretty much had this migrant that set this woman on fire on the train, and they're saying that they're looking for him now. They're trying to ID the woman, right, to try and get some identification to find out who it was, because he pretty much threw a match on her and lit her up basically, and as I was watching that and listening to it, I was like, damn, it's crazy how quickly the Heavenly Father can take somebody out just like that, in many different ways. And when the Most High sets his judgment sights on you, there pretty much is no escape from that. You're at the full mercy of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai at that point. So with that being said, as the scriptures say, make not tarrying to turn to the Lord, right? And don't put off the Lord from day to day, for suddenly in your security, the Lord, he's going to get you. And that's the thing, the Lord can get you anywhere, anytime, anyhow, by using people here. Because a lot of people, when they end up doing these kind of wild activities, they're influenced. They have either a spirit on them, spirit of anger, or that's a spirit of judgment, coming down from the Heavenly Father, right? Like going back to the time of Ahab, where we read in the Book of Kings about how the Heavenly Father pretty much set him up, So the point is emphasis on the fear of the Lord, right? Because we're going to be seeing more and more situations like that happening, and we understand how judgment works. We understand that, as the scriptures say, every morning doeth he bring his judgment, forth, right? That's the Most High, and that he will not acquit the wicked at all. Now, also with that being said, the scriptures talk about those that are going to be beaten with many stripes, right? Those that knew the will of the Heavenly Father, and decided not to do it, they're going to be beaten with many stripes. Now, when you look at the judgment going out in this world to people on the regular, then imagine, the kind of intentional judgment the Lord is going to bring upon those that he finds guilty and worthy of those many stripes, and what those many stripes are going to be like. Because it's going to start here, but it's eventually going to also bleed into the kingdom a bit, right? Because when you're a wicked Israelite who's in the kingdom, knowing the things that you did on this side, knowing the transgressions that you committed, but even worse, you did it, almost like, not even almost, you did it wholeheartedly, right? Knowing what you were doing, you were willfully ignorant, right? And continued in the ways that displeased Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Okay, but there's a lot going on over there, and it's not a matter of a one-time thing, but this is also all laying once again, as we've been saying, the red carpet for Trump to come in there and do what he has to do. He's garnished a whole lot of support, even since the time of Kamala, right? Everybody done forgot about her, okay, because she's hurt right now. But he has garnished a lot of support because the country has been thrown into a state of complete turmoil, a state of complete chaos, to where now you got New York with like 1,000 National Guard troops or whatnot, so-called to protect the subway system. You know, now the subway system was never perfect, but to the point where now they're saying you need National Guard troops to protect them because people are getting raped and murdered and all sorts of wild. Well, I think it was in the same very subway that you had this woman that was burnt alive. And as the scripture says, Yahweh Shai said, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what we're seeing. People today are faster and quicker to take out their phone to record some calamity happening to somebody rather than, if they can help them, actually helping them. So it's a very corrupt world, but for those whose eyes are open, you can see that it's only getting worse from here, and very soon people the solutions that at least people come to, right, the conclusions they come to and consider to be solutions are going to be less and less and less, as they're going to realize the only way out here is by some divine help. As you have more and more food shortages, food insecurities, which I did a lesson on that, right? You have eggflation, eggflation now because of the whole Angry Bird. You have the job market is harder now. People making a certain amount that was considered to be a lot, and they were considered to be pretty well off. Now they're living pretty much paycheck to paycheck. So a lot of people are already stressed out. They're already on edge, and with a mix now of, like we mentioned before, with a mix now of unidentified migrants who, look, when you compare hardships between so-called American hardships and the hardships of people that have lived in third world countries, there's certain areas where their normal life is without electricity. It's not like there's a blackout, and no, their normal life, the way they live, is without electricity. So seeing certain things, doing certain acts, to live, right, is not that big of a deal to them, because it's something that happens. Okay, you go to certain areas, end up in the wrong area, they'll throw a whole tire on you and burn you alive. And then that's it. Openly in the public. And who's gonna jump in there and say what? Certain areas where gangs that are large enough and have certain weapons are basically running control, taking control over the place, where you got even police that are afraid to investigate the matter. All right, there was a documentary I was watching some years ago, and it was I think it was in Venezuela or one of the either South or Central America, one of the countries over there, and they were basically going into how the crime and the violence is so bad. You have girls that get beheaded by their men, and the police can't really do anything about it. Even if they suspect who did it, the investigation and whatnot, it usually gets dropped, and there's a whole lot of so-called injustice going on there. And that brings me to my point, which is that those who've lived there and seen that, they know what it's like. Over here, that's not usually the case. Even though things are bad now, it's not as openly wild as it is in certain other areas where these so-called migrants are coming from, right? So when they start, I mean, if you look at the narrative that's been pushed over the past year or so, there's been some pretty heinous crimes. I think there was a case in was it Brooklyn or somewhere in New York, where they said that you had this migrant who had this tattoo of like a boar on his chest, and he basically sexually assaulted this 13-year-old girl or something like that. And they were looking for him. I didn't keep up with the story, so I'm not sure if they found him or not, but There was one where I think there was a migrant that killed some college student, on campus or so. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And this woman being set on fire on the train being the latest one, which I believe they said this was also done by a migrant. They had like pictures of him and everything. So once again, it's getting more and more dangerous. But now I keep thinking back to the first Purge movie, where they wanted people to behave violently, with their Purge experiment, but they found out people were just taking advantage of it to party and steal things, which is not, it wouldn't be considered a crime at that point. But in order for them to really get what they wanted, which is the bloodthirst and the actual murders and all of that, they brought in their own catalyst to sort of drive that situation. And that's how this at least a portion of this whole migrant situation is looking like. All right, where you have certain individuals that are brought in, which could be agents, right? There could be agents in there as well, but they are doing some wild acts, right? They're committing murders, they're committing, pretty wild acts, but it's sort of muddying the waters, it's turning the country into that kind of third world, so to speak. Now, what's Trump gonna do? We've already seen things that he's mentioned, that his border czar has mentioned. So we have to watch and see. But this is a nice case of them setting up that problem, reaction, solution. Them justifying the measures that they would need to take, because now they have a whole lot that they can point to. Say, oh, you think we're being too harsh? Look over here. Look over there. If anybody tries to, hinder this operation, then you'll be arrested. It's like that straight sort of, like soft martial law kind of thing, right? Where it's like, this is the operation, this is what we're doing, and nobody, is allowed to intervene with that. How successful it's going to be and how far it's going to go, who knows, right? We're going to watch and see. But we're seeing these these events taking place, and going back to what Yahweh Shai said in Matthew 24, once again, we have to watch, right? Because these are all signs of the end, signs that Yahweh Shai is close. So things will get worse, but there's hope in that. And the hope is that as they get worse, we are closer and closer to the end anyway. Okay? So when it gets to the point where you're experiencing those hardships directly, namely during the hour of temptation and other hardships that may come along the way, you can at least be hopeful and joyous in knowing that it's temporary, even more so now, because it's only worse because we're that close to the end. And at this point, we don't know how long it's going to be, but we know it's very close for for the Lord to take this place down, because the signs that he said will be happening before that happens, we're starting to see right before our eyes. Okay, so the whole point here is that staying in prayer is very important now more than ever. Keeping your faith up is more important now than ever, because the Lord is sending out judgments, and it also means being circumspect and watching where you are, who you're around. That the being outside aimlessly without just because, it's not really advisable to do anymore. Okay, so as the scriptures say in Ephesians, I love going to that precept because it's very it's very important in these times. See that you walk circumspectly, not as fools but as wise, and knowing the time, right, redeeming the times, understanding that we're in evil days. We have to be very, very careful and how we serve the Lord, right, and then also how we move in this world, because these demons are out here, and You know, they ready to strike. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.